Hi readers, Lee here. Welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads. And today I am doing my women's history video, Feminist edition. That's right, I am back on my feminist ship. I am bookending this video with two books that make me really uncomfortable for different reasons. But as a lifelong learner and a reader, I welcome that discomfort. You don't grow if you stay stagnant and stay in the same place and listen to the same ideas or read the same ideas that are comfortable for you. You only grow through discomfort. For example, I need to get my ass also back on my workout shit because otherwise I won't get stronger. Anywho, let's go right into it. The first book is a reissue. That is Right-Wing Women by Andrea Dworkin. Now, why was I uncomfortable about this book? Because when I went online to read about this book, Dworkin is referred to as a radical feminist. And I do not consider myself radical, but others may. I read a New York Times article. It talks about all these things. And so I approach this with trepidation, but these things that make her radical are addressed in the new foreword by Moira Donegan. This weekend, I'm having the worst trouble pronouncing things. So I did not know this book was coming out until I saw it in the feminist section of my local Barnes & Noble. I looked at it, put it down, walked away, and then I came right back and picked it up. Andrea Dworkin published Right-Wing Women in 1983, a crucial and deeply illuminating analysis of the right's position on abortion, homosexuality, anti-Semitism, female poverty, and anti-feminism. 40 years later, the book feels more vibrant, clear-eyed, and visionary than ever, especially as these issues get relitigated in both legal and public forums. In addition to her revelatory and nuanced portraits of figures like Anita Bryant and Phyllis Schlafly, and an examination of the roots of a distinctly woman-led brand of American conservatism, Right-Wing Women will give readers the thrill of rediscovering the force and elegance of Dworkin's arguments and her skill as one of our most adept and prophetic feminist thinkers. So, there's a reason I will probably not get to this soon. That reason is going to be the next book that I talk about. And also the print on this is a little bit small. But I do intend to try to get to this year. My issue is that there are so many fiction and nonfiction books that I want to read. There's just not the time to read it. I would be surprised if this is available in audiobook. If it is, I will definitely pick it up there. But 1983, again, I'd be surprised. So the next book that I want to talk about is actually two books, and it's the same book, and I have two different editions. In November, on my birthday, I did a post saying I was back on my feminist shit, and at the time I'd done a book haul that I never did a video on, and one of those books was Bad Feminist by Roxane Guy. Oh shit, I did not prepare myself for this. Bear with me because I am not stopping this video. So, no sooner had I bought this edition. God damn it, Barnes & Noble. There are two books in the stack that don't have summaries on the back, so I have to look them up so I can read them from my phone, and Barnes & Noble is not... The app is not participating with me. Why are you being a butthead? It's coming along. Apologies, but I don't want to stop this video because I already started. And anyhow, so no sooner had I bought this edition than this edition came out. Now, as far as I can tell, the only difference in the editions is that this has got a pink cover and pink sides where... Shit. Whereas I just knocked another book over. And again, I'm not stopping this video. So, whereas the other book is just a white cover with pink inside. Anywho. Bad Feminist. In these funny and insightful essays, Gay takes us through the journey of her evolution as a woman, Sweet Valley High, of color, The Help, while also taking readers on a ride through the culture of the last few years, Girls, Django in Chains, and commenting on the state of feminism today, abortion, Chris Brown. The portrait that emerges is not only one of an incredibly insightful woman continually growing to understand herself and our society, but also one of our culture. Now, when I said that it might take me a minute or two to get to this book, it's because I picked this up without knowing much about it. And when I read earlier today this summary of the book and how she mentions Sweet Valley High, I was like, sold. This is going to be the next book that I read, nonfiction-ish. I may treat it like a short story collection, except actually read it, because I loved Sweet Valley High growing up. It is very white. It is very privileged, but I still love those books. When we go back, me and my sister, and read them now, they are ever so corny. But the things you love as a kid, sometimes you can't explain it later when you're an adult and you know better. Still, I look forward to hearing Roxane Guy's take on Sweet Valley High and more. Now, the next book, the one I tipped over and knocked on the floor a minute ago, is one of the few books that I've actually read. I have to look up the summary for this, too, because it doesn't have one either. Hopefully, Barnes & Noble can be like Google and understand what I meant, even though I mistyped a word. Nope, she cannot. God damn, man. Sorry. My thumbs are a little bit fat. Anywho, they don't even have it in here. My goodness. Sorry, this is a warts and all kind of day. God damn, man, I get so much pressure. So, the book I'm talking about is The Women's History of the World by Rosalind Miles. This does not have, and when you Google it, oh, there's a different edition than this one. When you look it up on Barnes & Noble and Amazon, it's called Who Cooked the Last Supper? The Women's History of the World. And this is something I read over 30 years ago when I was writing a paper about Eve and women and feminism and misogyny. So, let me read you what this is about. Men dominate history because men write history. There have been many heroes, but no heroines. Here, in Who Cooked the Last Supper, originally known, I guess, as The Women's History of the World, is the history you've never learned, but should have. Without politics or polemics, this brilliant and witty book overturns centuries of preconceptions to restore women to their rightful place at the center of culture, revolution, empire, war, and peace. Spiced with tales of individual women who shaped civilization, celebrating the work and lives of women around the world, and distinguished by a wealth of research, yada yada yada. I wonder if it is actually the same book. But chapters in this are not listed in any sort of table. Oh, here they are. This is very religiously, and at least on the surface, heavily Christian. She may mention she does mention other religions. I just was coming from it at the time from a Christian perspective, or a person. That's all I'm going to say. Anywho, told in 4 parts. In the beginning, the fall of woman, dominion and domination, and turning the tide. So I remember absolutely nothing about this, but the reason I remember is because I wrote a note in the back saying Eve is not the reason, but rather an additional justification of male supremacy. So I look forward to not reading this again, but to reading Roxane Guy's more recent, The Women's History of the Modern World, How Radicals, Rebels, and Every Women Revolutionized the Last 200 Years. So, The Women's History of the World was published, copyright 1988, hard copy of this was 1989, and this edition was published in 1990. So, a long time ago. This was probably when I was early college days. This book, which is separate, is also told in 4 parts: Turning the Wheel, One Way Pendulum, Some Like It Cold, and The Longest March. This was published in 2021, and I just stumbled across this when I was looking up books to talk about feminism on. Now is the time for a new women's history, for the famous, infamous, and unsung women to get their due, from the French Revolution to the Me Too movement. Recording the important milestones during the birth of the modern feminist movement and the rise of women into greater social, economic, and political power, Roxane Guy takes us through a spectacular pageant of astonishing women, from heads of state like Dowager, I'm going to mess some of these names up, Dowager Empress Cixi, I don't know, Eugenia Charles, Indira Gandhi, Jacinda Ardern, and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, to political trailblazers Kate Shepherd, Carrie Chapman Catt, Anna Stout, Dorothy Height, Shirley Chisholm, and Winnie Mandela. Boy, this video is a mess, isn't it? STEM powerhouses: Jocelyn Bell Burnell, Rosalind Franklin, Sophia Kovalevskaya, Marie Curie, and Ada Lovelace. Revolutionaries: Olympe de Gouges, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, and Pache Garong. And writers and intellectuals including Mary Wollstonecraft, Simone de Beauvoir, Elaine Morgan, and Germaine Greer. Women in the arts, women in sports, women in business, women in religion, women in politics. This book is a one-stop roundup of the tremendous progress women have made over the last 200 years. I do look forward to listening. I do look forward to reading this. I may see if this one is available on audiobook, and we'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to use it as a reference for some of my women in war stuff, but we'll see. All right, I'm trying to get my shit together, see if I can finish this out without all the flubs of the first half, because I got 3 more books to talk about. Most of what I know about feminism, but not all, is based on documentaries. I've also done, in college, 30 years ago, I did a lot of reading, books like Women's History of the World, so I did some feminist reading, but from a specific angle. One book I have never read is the classic, The Feminist Mystique by Betty Friedan. Ariana Huffington says, if you've never read it, read it now. Apparently we're not going to be unfuckable this time. This half. This is one of the Library of Congress's books that shaped America. Landmark, groundbreaking, classic. These adjectives barely do justice to the pioneering vision and lasting impact of the feminine mystique. Published in 1963, it gave a pitch-perfect description of the problem that has no name. The insidious beliefs and institutions that undermined women's confidence in their intellectual capabilities and kept them in the home. Part social chronicle, part manifesto, the feminine mystique is filled with fascinating anecdotes, interviews, and still fresh insights that continue to inspire and awaken men and women to the fundamental issues of personal engagement and equality. This is not under 400 pages. It is just shy of 500. Nope, it is not just shy. Then they have the introduction to the 10th anniversary edition at the end, and it ends at like 516 pages. Oh, the 10th edition. This is not the 10th edition. This is... I'm guessing 2013. There's an afterword, copyright 2001. This is all over the place. I don't know when this edition, I guess 2013. So still over 10 years ago. But I definitely do look forward to reading this at some point in the near future. But after Bad Feminist by Roxane Guy. Now, about the time I decided I was going to get back up on my feminist shit, this book last year was published-ish. And that is The Movement, How Women's Liberation Transformed America in 1963 to 1973. So this goes hand in hand with Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique. This is by Clara Bingham, and I apologize, it's turning to spring, and now the late afternoon sun is going to decorate my videos. Through the speaking isn't my thing today. Through the individual voices of the people who lived it, the movement tells the inside story of what it felt like to be at the forefront of the modern feminist crusade, when women rejected thousands of years of custom and demanded the freedom to be who they wanted and needed to be. This riveting history traces women's awakening, organizing, and agitating between the years of 1963 and 1973, when a constellation of people and events coalesce to create a spontaneous combustion. We follow Heather Booth as she organizes the first meeting of the new women's movement on a college campus, gathering more people than could fit into the room, noting proudly it was a sign. We watch Nora Ephron in an early job interview as she's told, women don't become writers at Newsweek. And we hear the cheers at Billie Jean King's 1973 Battle of the Sexes, which she says made people ask hard questions. How do you want this world to look? Do you really want half the population not to have the same opportunities? And the answer, it's pretty hard to say no. Although some people seem to be saying no lately. From Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique to the underground abortion network, the Janes, to Shirley Chisholm's presidential campaign, Bingham artfully takes us into the rooms, basements, and stadiums where a movement was crafted, bringing to life the emotions and very essence of this personal, cultural, and political revolution. Artists and politicians, athletes and lawyers, black and white, Bingham effortlessly weaves together the lives of the exceptional women who insisted on being treated as first-class citizens. Ultimately, the movement is not only a historic accomplishment of archival discovery, but also a living testament to the women who changed the fabric of the of American life that will be read by generations to come. And I hope that one of those people will be me. This is just under 500 pages, not counting the cast of characters, etc. So I look forward to reading this year, inshallah. Finally, we come to the last book, and the other book that I approached with a little bit of discomfort. I bought this book based on a recommendation from an individual that I follow on Instagram. Her name is Ashley. I don't remember her new handle. That book is White Tears, Brown Scars, How White Feminism Betrays Women of Color by Ruby Hamad. Took off my glasses. I think it's clear that this makes me uncomfortable because I am a white woman, and no one wants to feel that I don't want to feel that I've caused somebody discomfort through insensitivity, or how that I have betrayed someone in my feminism. But no pain, no gain. White Tears possess plus some of the shit is no joke. It really happens. We've all seen this. White tears possess a potency that is rarely acknowledged or commented upon, but they have long been used as a dangerous and insidious tool against people of color, weaponized in order to invoke sympathy and divert blame. In this explosive book of historical and cultural criticism, journalist Ruby Hamad reveals the ways in which white feminism has been used as a weapon of white supremacy and patriarchy deployed against Black and Indigenous women and women of color. White Tears, Brown Scars tells a charged story of white women's active participation in campaigns of oppression. It offers a long overdue validation of the experiences of women of color and an urgent call to arms in the need for true intersectionality. A must-read for anyone who wants to be truly intersectional in their feminism. This compelling and meticulously researched book explores how the division between the innocent white women and the radicalized sexual women of color was created, and demonstrates exactly why these stereotypes are crucial to confront and deconstruct. Damn. Here's the thing. There's not enough time in the day or in a lifetime to read all the books that you want to read, and this really does look fantastic. I am no longer uncomfortable. I am eager to get to this book. It begins with an Arab proverb. He hit me and wept. Then he was first to protest. Damn, man. How can I get more hours in the day? Because I would like to read all of these this week, and that is impossible to do. For one, they are all nonfiction, and I don't know about you, but I'm a much slower reader in nonfiction than I am in fiction. Anywho, this one's going up there, and this one is going up there in my to read really soon. If you have stayed with me this long, I sure appreciate it, because I fucked up right and left on this video. I was actually prepared. I made notes. I had planned to have everything ready on my phone. I didn't. I knocked over a book. I stumbled over my words. I mispronounced stuff. But that is me, folks. There are two reasons I don't edit. One is I want to be authentic. I want you to see me, warts and all. And two, I spend all day at work at a computer. I don't want to come home and spend my weekends or my nights on a computer working as well. Anywho, if you made it through this hot mess, or not so hot, I appreciate, as always, you sticking with me on my journey, and happy reading.